Hey, you guys. So I wanted to come on here and briefly discuss two topics with you all. The first topic I'm going to touch on will be a discussion for that narrative of the strong black woman, and the second one will be a discussion on the response black social media has when one of our own is not successful in whatever endeavor they choose to participate in. And I want to give a little commentary before I get into the actual discussions themselves. I've become increasingly exhausted and frustrated when it seems like society uses black women as its scapegoat. One common example of this that ties in with this story is black women supporting black men unconditionally despite the very non-reciprocal provisions expressed by black men. And I get it. Part of this is due to the atmosphere black women are exposed to during their youth, where they might have been present in an environment where maybe the father was being emotionally negligent to the mother, or her mother learned that her father was being unfaithful to her throughout certain points of their relationship. And even outside of the realm of nurturing, propaganda suggests that black men by default are broken and black women have some unforeseen obligation to come and help repair him, which results in catastrophe because when he looks at himself in the mirror in the process of being repaired by this black woman, this gives way to narcissism, and then consequently this fortifies the ego. And this perilous combination of ego and narcissism is typically what causes black women to regret their decision to help black men, because your investment in him gives him the impression that you believe he had some value or had some form of redeeming qualities that perhaps society did not recognize. And a man should be more than capable of assessing his own self-worth and value, the very talent and determination he should be in possession of. And if a woman has to come along and help him search for these characteristics, then morally it undermines the foundation of his masculinity. And I want to discuss something with you all and go back to narcissism for a moment, because it will help bring light to and hopefully emphasize why it's dangerous for ego and narcissism to coexist simultaneously. As much as I hate to use a larger society's example for conveying a message, I feel this is warranted in helping us to provide clarity. In Greek mythology, there was a young man by the name of Narcissus. He was so very arrogant and admired his own beauty to the degree that he thought he should only be with someone who was as beautiful as he was, and would dismiss those who did not possess the same level of beauty as he did. And in some cases, rejection from Narcissus would cause the women he rejected to take their own lives to show their consecration towards him. And in that same story, Narcissus comes across a reflection of himself in a small body of water and realizes that he himself is the only one who should fall in love with, which, yes, I understand that some feel this is eccentric, but then again, so is a majority of Greek mythology. There's different accounts to this tale. Some say Narcissus wasted away because he couldn't be with himself, the version of himself that he saw a reflection of, and then others say that he took his life because he could not stand the fact that he wasn't able to be with his reflection. And after his passing, a flower grew from his grave, which coincidentally is named Narcissus, which some of you may or may not have seen. But back to black men's connection with the story. Black men's realization of their beauty because of black women's validation and vested interest in helping him realize his potential slightly mirrors the story of Narcissus. When black men look in the mirror after their broken stage but recent renovation by a black woman, he becomes filled with arrogance, which was spoon-fed to him by his ego, and he develops narcissist tendencies and leaves a black woman that helped his brokenness to be with someone who he thinks is as beautiful as him, which is a woman from a larger society. And large quantities of black men believe these women to be the standard of beauty, even though they age faster than expired milk or bananas past the day of expiration. Please make sure you guys go and check out ashkicking.com for all of your health and beauty products. All of their products are 100% organic and made from hand. So you are getting perfect quality merchandise. And the best part is, if you use my code ChrisMoore1, you will get 15% off your purchase. So go and check out this black-owned business, ashkicking.com. Now we can get into one of the reasons for this video. In this cartoon drawing, you see a black man looking down, destitute, and more than likely in a state of emotional instability. Then you see a black woman coming along with an umbrella, which I guess symbolically represents her shielding him from the challenges that the world has thrown at him, and she appears to be holding roses for whatever purpose. It may be one of those tactics to help build his self-esteem or help him value his own self-worth. This is one of the forms of propaganda I talked about earlier in my my introduction of this video, I told you guys certain narratives are generated and created to help achieve a desired outcome or result, which is also one reason why Black people have the highest susceptibility to social engineering. And these images are a recipe for disaster because it gives the impression that Black men are not strong enough to handle the trials and tribulations that this life tests them on. In the same instance, it reinforces Black women to come in and assist or be the cleanup person after he's either been through a difficult situation or discarded by society in some way. Why does this seemingly perpetual message reverberate so forcibly throughout our community? I can understand in one breath that if you go through a hard time, or maybe you're having an arduous struggle with whatever decision someone faces, but somehow there's propaganda put out to make it seem like Black women have become the masters of this role to come and clean up a Black man broken and beyond repair. And this is very reminiscent of that time Taraji P. Henson was in a relationship with Lamar Odom, and he still to this day has so much inner turmoil that he would be considered a Black man that's beyond fragmented. His relationship with Khloe Kardashian really exacerbated and took a toll on his mental health, somehow found his way to another Black woman, Sabrina Carr. Luckily, they didn't work out because I listened to an interview with him and Sabrina, and he admitted that he still loved Khloe. And we don't even have to resort to celebrities for this message because it happens to people who aren't celebrities. And I will say that it has a trickle-down effect in which non-celebrity Black men will exhibit similar qualities and show the same level of degeneracy. We cannot hope to make any progress if we don't recognize and call out these behaviors as problematic. And I'm also going to say this: I believe that you should support the Black men who are within your immediate circle, but even with that, be careful, because if you see that he's making the same mistakes and not learning from them, then your unconditional support of him is stunting his morality. How can he pick himself up if you keep picking him up? Support them if they support you, and don't make it a habit of being his safety net every time he falls. Sometimes in life, and this is across the board, we have to be able to fall to understand how to stand strong on our own 2 feet. And if you don't let him make his own mistakes and face the consequences, then you're bound to repeat patterns that develop into generational pathologies in which your daughters will always think they need to help the man no matter the circumstance. And we can attack this problem at the source by allowing for him to recognize his own issues and engage in some self-reflective exercises to better his approach on future situations. And this doesn't warrant your assistance to do that. So let's just even use an example outside of relationships. Let's just say, for instance, there's a mother bailing her son out of jail for repeated offenses. The mother may not be aware, but by bailing her son out consistently, he isn't learning his lesson that his own actions are a direct result of why he's in confinement to begin with. And he's going to have the outlook that what he was doing wasn't wrong. And even if he does know it's wrong, he could care less because his mom acts as a safety and security net, knowing she'll be there. This causes a depreciation of your character because of the consistent dependence and reliability of your presence. So that's my take on this image. Black women, please be very cautious and careful of propaganda that puts you in unfavorable places and situations. This story is about the ex-NBA player Nate Robinson, and Black people once again showing that they have no clue about staying on code and showing that everything is always a joke, even clowning their own people in the presence of the larger society. And side note, but before I get into the story, we have to stop doing this, you guys. I know we joke with each other in general, and that's fine. But what I mean regarding staying on code is we shouldn't make fun of each other when people from the larger society are in our same social spaces. So in this story, Nate Robinson was in some boxing match with a YouTube star by the name of Jake Paul. And based on one of the articles I read, it mentioned that Jake knocked Nate out in the second round of a boxing match that was supposed to go 6 rounds. And I won't discuss the fight in particular, but I want to more so talk about Black people and this ridiculous, very exasperating response to our own people. I saw nothing but the larger society in the comments, along with Black people, basically laughing at the man. I really don't see what was so funny because clearly the man is a basketball player, not a boxer, so you're talking about 2 completely different forms of athletics. And I made a video a few months ago about Deontay Wilder and how the larger society used covert racialized language to attack him after his loss to Tyson Fury. There were Black people in this comment section also making fun of him, and still on every Instagram post he makes several months after the fight, they are still referencing that fight, and it's like it really wasn't that serious. The thing is, you're not going to win every single fight, and prior to that, he was undefeated. So they took one loss and ran with it, acting like the man didn't have an undefeated record. And in the fight with Floyd Mayweather going against Conor McGregor, people from the larger society were actually still upset and in their feelings that Conor lost Floyd Mayweather. And in the comment section during that time, I didn't see cavemen making any jokes about McGregor. And it's sad to say, but I think when it comes to our community and how we maneuver in this society, we can be some of our own worst enemies. Think about why it is other communities congratulate their people for a challenging effort, and then think about why with us, we make jokes about our own like we didn't put forth our very best effort. Black people don't know how to stay on code, and this is evident based on our interactions alone. Judging from the time the story was published up till now, it didn't even take a whole 24 hours before Black people said, let's make fun of one of us, and no, don't give him any relief before we start going at him. Another reason why people don't take us seriously, like I've stated for the 1,000th time, is because we really have no form of loyalty to each other, more specifically uplifting us when we're unsuccessful. And it only further creates more strife because you guys don't know, this man could look back at this years from now and talk about how it was his own people that didn't have us back. And that'll be our own fault because we were too busy making memes and jokes to tell the man good job at least for trying. If we can't learn to stay on code in front of these people, I can guarantee you we'll either remain stagnant or regress at an even faster rate regarding the respect for our culture. Even look at this post on Facebook. It's a woman from a larger society and she was welcomed into a historically black sorority at an HBCU. Granted, I understand, yes, there are other people from a larger society that may attend HBCUs, but that's not the point. Not only is this disgraceful and disrespectful to your community, but this is an example of when you uplift people from outside your community and you don't gatekeep your blackness. Now, Black people are swooning over this pale woman in the comment section, and it's disgusting and it's ridiculous. And the buffoonish antics, I swear you guys, I can't make this up. I want you guys to look at some of these screenshots from this thread. You guys saw the comment section, and I'm just going to say this. Don't be mad when a majority of them are the face of what you started. We only have ourselves to blame for this phenomenon because you were so welcoming and accepting and embraced her that when she told her friends to come to the same sorority and take it over, you thought you were getting a boost in social status by association. And some may even be inclined to say that it sounds preposterous for these people to become the face of what you started. Okay, so tell me why the Me Too movement, which was started by a Black woman, has been hijacked by white feminists to go after Black men for inappropriate conduct and behavior. R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, and at some point even Kyle Massey were the faces of this thing, despite the real culprits like Harvey Weinstein and Les Moonves. Let me know your thoughts on all of these topics. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.